Every family's got that one kid, the one everyone points fingers at, the one who somehow always ends up being the problem. You know the type, the so-called black sheep. But here's the crazy part. Half the time, this child isn't doing anything different from the perfect sibling. Sometimes the black sheep isn't hated because they're wrong. They're hated because they're inconvenient. They ask questions, they notice hypocrisy. They refuse to bend into the perfect puppet shape that keeps everyone comfortable. Families hate mirrors, and the black sheep is often the mirror that reflects everything the family doesn't want to admit. The kicker is that this misunderstanding follows them everywhere. Teachers see it, relatives repeat it, even outsiders start buying into the label. The obedient sibling can fail, cry, even rebel in secret, and it's brushed off as a phase. But the black sheep, every misstep becomes proof. Proof they're unstable, proof they're rebellious, proof they're the problem. Psychologists even have a term for this: scapegoating. One child becomes the outlet for the parents' unresolved frustrations, regrets, and failures. The child who's misunderstood, misjudged, and always treated as if their very existence is a disruption to the family order. And let's get this straight. It's not because this kid is inherently bad or broken. It's because families, whether they admit it or not, build their own twisted little hierarchies. Someone has to be the obedient star, the poster child, the proof that the parents did a good job. And someone else has to carry the blame, the rebellion, the imperfections, the family's dirty laundry. That's where the black sheep comes in. Now, here's where the psychology gets wild. Families don't operate as neutral spaces where love flows equally. They operate like social ecosystems, with unspoken rules, expectations, and, most dangerously, assigned roles. There's the golden child, obedient, compliant, fitting into the mold. Then there's the black sheep, rebellious, outspoken, unwilling to swallow hypocrisy. The golden child's mistakes are forgiven, brushed off as human. The black sheep's mistakes, magnified, weaponized, and remembered forever. Take this example. Both siblings forget to do the dishes. The obedient child? Oh, they had homework, poor thing. The black sheep? You're lazy, disrespectful, always causing problems. Same action, different judgment. This is not coincidence, it's a psychological bias baked into the family dynamic. Once a child is labeled the black sheep, everything they do is filtered through that lens. And here's the savage truth. This isn't really about the child at all. It's about the parents. The obedient child preserves the illusion that the family is stable, successful, and admirable. The black sheep disrupts that illusion. They ask questions. They call out inconsistencies. They refuse to perform obedience just to make everyone else comfortable. Families hate disruption more than they hate mistakes. That's why the black sheep becomes the target. And because you're the designated problem, even your success can be twisted. You get a good grade? Oh, you finally did something right for once. You try to pursue your own path? Why can't you just do what your sibling does? It's endless, but here's the dark comedy in all this. The golden child and the black sheep often do the exact same things. The difference lies in perception. The obedient child could come home drunk. Parents might laugh it off as youthful rebellion. The black sheep comes home late once. Sober? They're destroying the family's reputation. This double standard isn't just unfair, it's psychologically damaging. It teaches one child that they're always safe, no matter what. And it teaches the other that they're always wrong, no matter what. Now, let's go deeper. Why is the black sheep misunderstood? Because they represent truth. Families, especially dysfunctional ones, run on denial. Denial of abuse, denial of favoritism, denial of generational trauma. The golden child keeps the denial intact by smiling, nodding, and playing along. The black sheep shatters it simply by existing differently. They say, "This isn't right." They refuse to conform, and so they must be punished, not for what they did, but for what they revealed. And here's the part that flips the script. Being the black sheep is not a weakness, it's survival training. These kids grow up learning to endure criticism without collapsing. They learn to depend on themselves. They learn to see through fake approval and empty praise. They build resilience that the golden child may never develop. Because while the golden child thrives under controlled conditions, the black sheep learns to thrive under fire. Let's get even more savage. The obedient child often ends up fragile in adulthood. They've been trained to seek approval. They live in fear of disappointing others. They collapse when life doesn't hand them the validation they're used to. Meanwhile, the black sheep, they've already been through hell. They've lived without approval their whole life. When the world criticizes them, they shrug it off. When life gets tough, they're ready. Being misunderstood in childhood forged them into psychological warriors. But society rarely sees it that way. The black sheep carries the stigma long after childhood. Teachers pick up on it. Oh, that's the troublemaker sibling. Relatives whisper about it. That one's always been different. Even strangers can sense the label that's been pinned on them. And the tragedy is, many black sheep internalize this narrative. They start believing they are the problem. They start believing they are defective. That's the deepest wound, not the judgment itself, but the way it seeps into their own identity. Yet, here's where it all comes full circle. History is filled with black sheep who became leaders, innovators, and visionaries. Because who changes the world? Not the obedient ones. Not the people too afraid to step out of line. It's the outsiders, the misunderstood, the ones who refuse to play a role just to keep everyone else comfortable. Families may punish the black sheep, but the world eventually needs them. Oprah didn't grow up with the golden child treatment. In fact, she was the opposite, born into poverty, shuffled between households, and constantly reminded of her place. While other children in her family were considered respectable, Oprah was dismissed, underestimated, and even shamed for being outspoken. That outsider role, the family black sheep, forced her to rely on her voice, her resilience, and her vision. Instead of shrinking into the box assigned to her, she built an empire, became one of the most influential women in history, and flipped the script on her entire lineage. Jim Carrey grew up with a father who lost his job and a family struggling for survival. Unlike his siblings who tried to blend in and adapt, Carrey was the eccentric one, goofy, odd, always cracking jokes when things were serious. He was often dismissed as immature, the unserious black sheep of the family. That relentless clown energy, it became the foundation of a legendary comedic career, with him flipping his role as the misunderstood outsider into global fame. So, when you see a black sheep child, don't think failure. Think resistance. Don't think problem. Think truth teller. They're not misunderstood because they're broken. They're misunderstood because they expose what families would rather keep hidden. And while the golden child might win the family's approval, the black sheep builds the kind of strength that wins in real life. That's the psychology of the black sheep, misjudged, scapegoated, but secretly powerful. The misunderstood child isn't a mistake. They're the product of a system designed to keep control at all costs. And the irony is, the one who's pushed out often grows into the one who escapes, the one who sees clearly, the one who thrives beyond the family's limitations. So, the next time you hear about a black sheep, don't think failure, think survivor. Think of someone carrying the weight of a whole family's denial, someone misjudged not because of who they are, but because of the uncomfortable truths they represent. The comment of the day goes to Vault444, and it reads, "This video changed my life." Well, good. That was the whole point. Free therapy with no invoice attached. You're welcome.